So the Trump administration is now deporting people to gulags in El Salvador, and it's gotten to the point that even Fox News is going, hey, guys, what are we doing here? So today we're going to go over how this all went from foreign policy to just full-on Black Mirror episode, and one of the dystopian ones, not like the really charming Star Trek ones.
And now the case is in the hands of the Department of Homeland Security, who will be deporting this individual from our country. These agencies are working together in a collaborative way to follow President Trump's directive to eradicate MS-13 and foreign terrorists from United States soil. So this is an individual who was detained and arrested because of the president's policies, and he will no longer be residing in the United States of America. And our
I'm just trying to get some clarity on it, Caroline, because if indeed he is what we were told he is, the East Coast leader of MS-13, wouldn't it make sense to prosecute him for crimes related to that? I know he was held on a gun charge, but to make sure that any victims of MS-13 through his leadership get their day in court here in the United States, and then send him to an El Salvadoran prison if he is deported and found guilty on those crimes.
Yeah, this administration isn't like the other administrations. We do things a little bit differently, okay? So if you could just cool it with all the questions, that would be great. What do you want us to, press charges? Do, a whole trial? No, thank you. It's not our style. We do things differently. We prefer to just snatch up people, put them on a plane, and ship them out of the country like it's Amazon Prime. Hey, real quick, if Fox News has some concerns about your deportation strategy, you might have overshot the runway just a little bit, okay? You might want to pop that bad boy in reverse. I don't know how planes work, but you get the metaphor.
Well, again, this administration is doing things differently, Martha, and this president has made a directive to his agencies, particularly the Department of Homeland Security, to remove foreign terrorists from America's homeland to protect American citizens. And we have an incredible diplomatic relationship with the president of El Salvador and his government, who have been detaining these MS-13 ringleaders and violent gang members in their prisons. And American taxpayers don't have to foot the bill for that cost. And so, again, the bottom line
here, the Supreme Court said that the Alien Act could be used to remove people, but they had to reach due process first. I'm only pressing on this because it was a huge story and we covered it. Obviously, it would feel like that person could lead to a lot of other evidence. The DOJ would be pressing to see this in court so that other people could be exposed, and suddenly none of that's happening.
I don't know how familiar you are with Fox News speak. I would say I'm conversational, but not quite fluent. And I think what the Fox News host is trying to say here is, what are you lunatics doing? What if this is actually a criminal? Why not go through the actual legal system? But rather than go through due process, the Trump team would prefer to skip straight to extraordinary rendition. Only this time it's domestic, and the plane lands at a prison in El Salvador. So yeah, even Fox is basically just begging the Trump administration to go through the courts. And the way they're doing that is they're just listing some of the many reasons the legal system is great. To which the Trump administration is replying, thank you, but no thank you. We do things a little differently. We're not like those other administrations that care about human rights.
Your argument is that you don't have to bring him back home, but will you?
So I want to correct, I hate to do it, Bill, but I got to correct you on every single thing that you said, because it was all wrong. First, we won the Supreme Court case, clearly, 9-0. A district court judge said unconscionably that the president and his administration have to go into El Salvador and extradite one of their citizens, an El Salvadorian citizen, so that would be kidnapping, that we have to kidnap an El Salvadorian citizen against the will of his government and fly him back to America, which would be an unimaginable act and an invasion of El Salvador's sovereignty. So we appealed to the Supreme Court, and it said clearly, no district court can compel the president to exercise his Article 2 foreign powers in any way whatsoever.
Oh man, okay, for a second there I was getting pretty concerned about all of this, but thankfully, Stephen the Human Hemorrhoid Miller says everything is fine, so we have nothing to worry about. Hey, by the way, is saying that someone coming back constitutes kidnapping, would that be a new low or like an old low? Because I'm having a hard time keeping track of all the lows, because I thought kidnapping was when person get taken, but apparently kidnapping is when person come back. That's wild. And you know Stephen Miller was so proud of himself when he thought of that. He was so excited. I bet he woke up in the middle of the night, opened his coffin, wrote that down, and was like, this is gonna crush.
I promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask for anyone to get him back?
But the Supreme Court is asking to.
But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supreme Court is asking to. But the Supr
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0
in our favor.
In our favor, against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual, at El Salvador's sole discretion, was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time. Well, no version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
It's like whenever Stephen Miller talks, there's like that ringing, you know what I'm talking about? Anyway, let me make sure I'm following this. So any act, no matter how grotesque or illegal, can just get waved through so long as you slap a foreign policy sticker on it? Because I'm going to be honest with you, that doesn't sound like a law. That sounds a lot like a loophole that you get out of a dictatorship starter pack. What are we going to start doing next? Are we going to start saying that when we separate families at the border, that's a tourism exchange? Are we going to say that kidnapping is when person come back? Are we just going to pretend that words have no meaning so long as you can push forward your political agenda? Wait a minute.
And your position is you know nothing about his current state?
No, neither we nor the family have been able to make any contact with him. This is one of the principal human rights violations that occurs in that facility, is that inmates and detainees in that facility are held incommunicado.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a legal U.S. resident, is gone, vanished into a prison system in a country he doesn't belong to, and his family, powerless. This isn't just injustice, it's state-sponsored erasure, and the Trump administration is doing it while smiling.
It's a test. We are now taking a test.
What's the test?
The test is, do you see these people as human beings deserving of the protection as human beings of the country that has styled itself the foremost protector of decency and due process in human history? And when you show these videos and you allow this administration to cast these people as people who should be shackled, who don't look like you, what they don't want you to realize in the case of Mr. Abrego Garcia is that this was a dad who was apprehended while in a parking lot of an IKEA with his autistic son in the back. And one of the most primary criteria for why he was apprehended was because he was wearing a Chicago Bulls cap and hoodie.
I think that's incredibly well said, because if this whole thing doesn't make you stop and go like, all right, where do I stand on just basic human rights, then I don't know what to tell you. You might have become a little bit numb. Like, it makes sense for someone like Stephen Miller not to care about human rights because he's never been human and rarely been right. But when even Fox News is going, hey, why don't you just prosecute this person instead of deporting them without a trial? Listen to Fox News. All right, I gotta find my 2025 bingo card now.
We need to make our voices heard. We're not red, we're not blue. We're the building trades, the backbone of America. You want to build a $5 billion data center? Want more six-figure careers with health care retirement and no college debt? You don't call Elon Musk. You call us. North America's building trades unions. And yeah, that means all of us, including our brother, smart apprentice, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who we demand to be returned to us and his family now. Bring him home.
When union leaders and cable news anchors have more constitutional literacy than the White House, it might be time for a national timeout. And hey, Stephen Miller, if you're listening to this, a timeout is a disciplinary method used to teach children the difference between right and wrong. Okay, and if you're still confused about right and wrong, you can just FaceTime me. And if I seem startled when I answer, it's just because I find you legitimately scary. Look, the point is, this isn't just bad policy, okay? This is authoritarian cosplay that's so good, I'm starting to think it's real because real people are paying the price. So yeah, I guess I agree with Fox News. There should be a prosecution. We just might disagree on who should be prosecuted. Or maybe we're just going to keep ignoring the justice part of the justice system. And I don't want to come off like I think the justice system is perfect either, okay? Because last I checked, it's extremely flawed, and many of those flaws are systemic, and they need to be dealt with. But whenever that's brought up, there's this one particular political party that suddenly acts like the justice system is this flawless protector of American life. Where are all those people? Because I don't know about you, I haven't heard from any of them. Because if we're going to act like due process is just optional software, then we're already halfway to autocracy. And the software update comes with gulags. And yeah, I know I need to stop watching Black Mirror, okay? But it's either that or the news. And, you know, same picture. So, bye, everybody.